That's right, gamers, I am Electro, and today I'm going to be showing you my thought process on making an ultimate stage. So I was looking around on YouTube, it's like, hey, let's make another stage, let's try to find one that we can use the Mugen engine to try to enhance it or just make it a little bit more fun. So I found this stage from a game called like Monster Quester. That might not be the right name, but it's something like that. But it's the Inca stage. So what I decided to do here is just to try to make it more 3D. It's a small stage. There's really not much to it. So these are perfect to try to give a 3D effect, in my opinion. If they get too big, you can't use code like I'm using for the walls, which is scale delta. And then for the floor, I decided to make it parallax, but you know, it had these statues right here, so I'm just going to chop that off. I'm not going to worry about the artwork. And again, I'm trying to describe my thought process in making an ultimate stage. I never really worry about the artwork. I just try to get the puzzle pieces, if you will, in place, and then the coding. Because if I can't accomplish what I want in the coding and the few elements that I have, then there's no point in progressing to complete the stage. Because I haven't tried to make an accurate stage in years, and it's just no fun for me anymore. Plus, I think most of them have been made in an accurate way, so what's the point in just remaking stuff other people have already made? So I tried to put my own spin on it, and as you can see with the floor, I'm just trying to get the parallax right, and it's looking alright. Again, you just ignore the statue's feet. I'm going to go in later on the sprite and have to do some work to kind of chop them out. You know, not too hard because we're dealing with the grid here, and I can just maybe copy paste the texture on the top of this, and it won't take that long. I'm not even worried about that part. Here's what the original background looked like, and when I was looking around on the YouTube videos, I was like, okay, here's this short stage that I can make 3D, and this is perfect because I have two giant walls that I can do the 3D effect on. So we'll go back to the game. We'll go to the right side over here, my right. And as you can see, the wall has no 3D effect. It's just moving along with this sun face here, or whatever that is. And then on the left hand side, I have a 3D effect going. So as I walk back and forth, it looks like the wall is morphing, giving us an illusion of 3D. Now, I know it looks bad right in here, but as I was making the wall, I have to remove this because again, this is all one piece. There's nothing behind this. And then I also wanted to extend it for a super jump possibility if I wanted to go that route. So extended it. This all looks pretty good. I started working on the wall right here, but again, I need to see how much is getting covered up by the game, because I don't want to spend a lot of time just drawing bricks back here when you're never going to see them. So I need to again figure out how much sprite I need back there. And of course, I changed the last color of whatever these are to purple. And so this is what I'm working with right now, and this is my idea for the stage. Will it work out? I have no idea. You just got to keep going and hope it all works out. So I'm going to stop the video here and then come back maybe an hour or two and then show you a little bit more progress. Okay, we're back, and I've done a little bit more work on the stage. I've added a sky to it, and I've finished the walls on both sides. Also, I've tried to mess with the floor a little bit, but I had a problem, and I'll show you that at the end. So let's jump up and look at the sky. Okay, as you can see, the sky has parallax, and here I'll walk back and forth so you can get a good idea. And I chose this sky because with this one, I can have parallax, I can show motion, and with the widescreen version, this is going to help me out because the original sky, I mean, it looks alright, but it's not really wide enough. There's no motion I can show with it. In the 7 or the widescreen version, I'm going to have to stretch it with code, and it's going to look even worse. Plus, I mean, let's be honest, it looks like they took a photograph, changed the colors around. They took a big circle here and then just started, like they took a tool and did a bunch of dots and then kind of blended this. It just kind of looks, half-assed. I just didn't like it. So I instead went with this sky. Now originally it was all gray, so I made it look like a sun was setting, and then I tried to keep the theme of red and yellow. Couldn't really add the purple in there, but it's not needed in my opinion. So now we have this guy. Alright, let's go down here and look at the walls. Now on the walls, this is as far as I had to go. Like, I think you can only see about this part, so I didn't have to go any further than that. Blended this down. It doesn't need a super amount of detail. Like here, I'll walk back and forth and you can see that it looks good the way it is right now. Like, no one's going to be looking in this area and being like, oh, Electro didn't blend that all the way this way or whatever. No one's going to notice. They're just going to be like, whoa, the wall looks cool. I'm walking back and forth. It kind of looks 3D. Plus, with these statues in the way, it's going to be harder to see this area anyway. But yeah, I like that. I like the way it's turning out. Now we get to the problem. The statues and the floor. So I was working on the floor, and as you can see, I started to remove a statue from the floor. Again, it's not that hard. But as I was removing it, I noticed that these statues are all pointed to the side. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm parallaxing the floor, how are these things going to look? And they look pretty crappy. So I'll show you that.
Round 1. Fight.
Now I have them matched up, and the code is right for them to move with the floor, but you can instantly see the problem. They're all turned to the side, and as the floor parallaxes, that's not happening with them. So what to do in this situation? Well, I have two options. The most obvious is just remove the parallax from the floor, which isn't that big a deal, but I do want to keep it. So I'm thinking about doing the same 3D effect that I did to the wall, but on the side of these totems or statues. And if that looks okay, then I'll proceed on with removing the rest of the statues from the floor. But if not, then I'm actually good to go with just putting them back on this, adding them to the game and removing the parallax. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I'll let you know what happened. Back again, and I'm happy to report that the sides of the statues, me cutting them out and making the 3D effect, has worked out. It was a little bit of a headache. I kind of gave up last night and just decided to come back this morning and relook at it, and now it's all working out. One thing you will notice while I'm demonstrating this is that the ears themselves, I cut them out with the side, and with them being on the 3D effect, now the sides look great, but the ears are growing and shrinking too much. So what I'm going to have to do is cut them out, put them on their own delta, and then probably just remove the 3D effect from them. And then maybe the ears on this side too, just put them on a slight delta, not too much. And so you'll see what that looks like. I just didn't want that to like jump out at you and be like, oh, that's too strong, because I just want you to focus in on the sides of the statues. That's why I removed everything else from the background, so you could see it easier. Okay. Another thing you might have noticed is that the feet, like I cut them out from the floor. I need to tweak it in a couple of places, but it looks pretty good. The feet themselves are the last part that is kind of bothering me. Like, I'm wondering if I should cut them out and put them on a slight parallax, not too strong, but just enough to where they are kind of moving just a little bit. But that also might make the front of the statue seem like, why would the feet be moving a little bit back and forth, but the front is not? So I'm gonna mess with that next, cut out the ears, do what I said I was gonna do with them. And then after that, it's just a matter of popping back in all the animations, and I think we'll be done, unless I come up with any more ideas. So I'll be back in a minute and show you what that looks like. Okay, we're back again, and now I've completed the ears on both sides, and I've added back the animations to the statues. I've touched up the floor a little bit more. So let's look at that. Everything is reacting exactly like I hoped it would. So I'm happy about that. Now I'm going to move on to adding back in the rest of the stage, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, I'm back, and the stage is now complete. The only thing I need to add is there's an intro to this stage. Like in the original stage, it starts in the sky. There was some text that popped out which said Inca, which is the name of the stage, and then it scrolled down to the characters. Other than that, everything is complete, so I'll demonstrate that now. Another thing I wanted to point out is I didn't rip these sprites. This was originally a stage by Cenobite, but I just took his sprites and then recoded everything. Did whatever I needed to do to make it all function. Like, check this out. How many times I chopped up those totems? But yeah, I wanted to point out that originally he was the sprite ripper, so I really appreciate him letting me use his sprites. And if I'm saying his name wrong, then I apologize. And another reason I'm pointing this out is because this stage is going to be for 1.1 only. Like Mugen 1.0 doesn't have the code that I need to make the 3D effect. So if you want this and you're using 1.0, then you need to go to his site to get it. I'll come back in a little bit and show you the intro and then kind of wrap this up. Dun dun dun. Mission accomplished. Everything is complete, even the intro. So we'll look at that now.
Round 1. Fight.
One more time.
Round 1. Fight.
So I think that was the icing on the cake to make this stage really pop. Um, I hope you've enjoyed this making of video. If I feel like people enjoyed it, then I'll make more. If not, then, won't waste my time. So the only thing left to do now is just package everything up, get the videos ready and uploaded, and release it. And I hope everyone enjoys it. Later.